Birmingham, one of the safest big cities in the country. However, like all cities, Birmingham experiences crime, and as a consequence, some of our residents become victims. As a victim, they then have to engage in a system that at times can be complex and impersonal.
I am Councillor Jess Phillips and I'm the Victims Champion for Birmingham. I was appointed as the Victims Champion for Birmingham due to my personal and professional experience of working with victims of crime. What I know is that community safety institutions such as the police, probation, the courts and the Crown Prosecution Service can be extremely complicated for a victim to understand, and often a victim's voice and their experiences of crime are lost in the system. Victims in this city have been affected by horrific crimes such as domestic violence, sexual violence, being terrorised on their streets and in their neighbourhoods through antisocial behaviour. And it can be extremely difficult for people in those situations really to properly understand what they're meant to do, where they're meant to go. Often people feel that they've not been treated with dignity or respect.
Birmingham City Council wanted to address this head-on and improve the services for victims. So the Victims Champion was chosen and the Birmingham Victims Charter was created.
The Victims Charter for Birmingham was created because Birmingham is a huge city with lots and lots of different agencies who interact with victims of crime, be that the police, the courts, the council itself in neighbourhood offices and housing offices. And in a very complicated system, it was vital to ensure that we had some sort of synergy and ensure that we were all working together for the goals of treating victims with dignity and respect and ensuring that victims' views were heard when we make any policy that will affect victims in this city.
My name's Marsha Shakespeare. I'm a victim of a violent crime. My daughter was murdered in 2003 at the age of 17 years old. She was murdered by a drive-by shooting. There's a very important need for the Victims Charter. Once I was faced with being a victim, I had no initial help from housing, counselling, through the court procedures. Generally, I was left to really help myself as a victim. Once you're going through grief, especially once I was going through grief when Letitia was murdered, now she was murdered through gang violence, through a gun crime. It was shocking. I didn't know where to go, I didn't know what to do. I found it hard to eat. I found it hard to even come back out in society, even to go to the shop without people staring at me. Also, I found it hard just to get back into work. I found it hard in every area, which was my life before. It was totally destroyed from being a victim. Although the Victim Charter is basically leading this, it's important that all organisations work together to achieve the same objective, because unless they're all chiseling at the same problem to help the victim, because the victim is the objective, then there'll be failure.
And as a victim of crime in Birmingham, with the Charter in place, you can now expect to be treated with dignity and respect, to be taken seriously, to be treated with kindness when reporting an incident and thereafter, to be treated fairly, to be listened to, regardless of agency, and not passed around.
Birmingham is leading the way with the creation of the Victims Charter, and I really hope that the success that we will have here in this city will be used as an example across the country, and other local authorities will see how important it is to really listen to and respect the rights and dignity of victims. The Victims Charter, to me, represents a real change in how we listen to and view and respect victims in this city. Victims in this city now have an actual resource, they have a champion who will stand up for their rights. And what we want from the Charter and from the role of the Victims Champion is to ensure that every victim in this city feels that they are being represented, and if they are not, then they know where to come.